God gives them this wonderful orchard, tells them they can eat all the fruit they want.
And they live in peace with the animals and with one another. It's an image of peace, completion, wholeness.
The names of Adam and Eve are widely recognized, representing the beginning of humanity. However, within their story, the daughters of Adam are lesser known by many. These women remain hidden and their stories waiting to be told. But who were they? And what remarkable tales are concealed within their family history? Join us as we explore ancient texts, as well as long-standing traditions, to reveal the concealed truths and untold stories about the intriguing daughters of the progenitors of humanity. Adam and Eve's legacy through ancient texts. According to the Bible, Adam lived a very long time, even after his son Seth was born. During his lifetime of 930 years, he had both sons and daughters. Although the Bible doesn't give us their names, ancient Jewish traditions, like the Book of Jubilees, provide some clues. This book is often called the Little Genesis because it shares similar stories. So, let's uncover the names of Adam and Eve's daughters from these ancient stories. It's like solving a mystery from the distant past to learn more about these forgotten characters. The Apocrypha is a magical time-traveling book that whisks us back to the very beginning of everything. It's packed with stories about how the world got started, how Adam and Eve popped up, and what went down after they messed up. And it doesn't stop there. It's also chock full of tales about other important folks from the Old Testament, especially those from the Book of Genesis. This book has been around for ages. The oldest copy we've got dates back to around 700 BCE, so you can bet it's been through a lot in its time. Just picture all the stories it's been holding on to for centuries. But this old writing isn't just a copy, it's a version of something even older. Some experts think the Book of Jubilees might be connected to the Book of Chronicles, suggesting that a person named Ezra could have written both. But according to the Book of Jubilees, it was actually Moses who wrote it. It says Moses got a special message from an angel while he was on Mount Horeb. Interestingly, the Bible tells us that Moses spent an extraordinary 40 days and nights on Mount Horeb without eating or drinking anything while he was with God. Given the ancient origins of the text, it's important to consider the possibility that Moses himself may have been the one who wrote it. The Book of Jubilees holds a special place in Israelite culture, with many copies circulating among the people, suggesting its widespread significance and influence. Moreover, there's another intriguing book called the Book of Enoch. Early Christians were quite familiar with it, and some even considered it part of their Bible. This emphasizes why we shouldn't ignore the Book of Jubilees. It shares events that match those found in the Bible, making it a valuable source worth exploring. The puzzle of Adam and Eve's progeny. Adam and Eve's first daughter bore the name Awan, which Phoenician Hebrew means potency or vice. She ended up being both the wife and sister of Cain, another child of Adam and Eve. It's like a puzzle, piecing together the connections between these ancient figures. According to a book called Jubilees, it says that Cain had kids, and one of them was named Enoch. The Bible also talks about Cain building a city, and he named it after his son Enoch. Imagine that. Despite getting kicked out for killing his brother Abel, Cain managed to build something big, and he named it after his son. It's like a story within a story. You can find the name Awan in a book called the Book of Jubilees, and in other texts from the Abrahamic tradition. But what's really interesting is that in some of these other texts, like the Cave of Treasures, she's called Kalima instead. So, according to these stories, Awan was Cain's wife and Adam and Eve's first daughter. It's pretty cool how different stories give us different views on the same characters. According to various old stories from the Semitic people, the second daughter of Adam and Eve went by the name Azura. Azura was the wife of Seth, the third son of Adam and Eve. Seth was born after Abel passed away. The name Seth comes from Hebrew and might mean something like making up for something or taking someone's place. This is important because after Cain killed Abel, Adam and Eve saw Seth as a sort of replacement for their lost son. They thought Seth was a good and faithful person, and the Bible suggests that people kept on worshiping God through Seth's family line. Azura wasn't just any character in these ancient stories. She played a special role as the daughter of Adam and Eve, who, according to these stories, were the first humans ever. But what's really interesting is that Azura wasn't just Adam and Eve's daughter. She was also Seth's wife. Now, in our times, marrying your sibling might seem unusual or strange, but back then, things were different. This marriage between Seth and Azura was a big deal because it helped keep the family going. It's like they were continuing the story of humanity by having children and passing on their family line. Azura, who is Seth's sister, becomes very important in keeping the family going after all the trouble caused by Cain. She helps to make sure there are still people around. Azura and Seth have a son named Enos. Enos grows up to be an important leader in his own way. His time marks the start of a new period where people start to seek a connection with God, as mentioned in Genesis 4:26. Though Azura isn't explicitly named in the Bible, her role holds immense significance in understanding Adam's family lineage. From a biblical perspective, she plays a crucial role in demonstrating how God guides the righteous lineage of humanity, which is symbolized through the descendants of Adam and Seth. Additionally, Seth's lineage holds profound significance in religious texts. This lineage ultimately leads to Noah, a central figure in the well-known flood narrative and humanity's survival. Seth and his wife, Azura, are pivotal links in the chain of ancestry, connecting the dawn of humanity to pivotal events and influential figures in Judeo-Christian history. They serve as crucial connectors, stitching together the fabric of our ancient past and linking it to the narratives that have shaped our collective understanding of faith and tradition. In the Book of Jubilees, there's a fascinating revelation about Azura's journey. It shares that Azura was first married to Abel and became a widow when he tragically passed away. Later, when Seth reached adulthood, he married Azura. This union marked the beginning of the lineage of Seth, who emerged as the inaugural patriarch of this lineage. According to the Book of Jubilees, Azura's birth occurred during the 6th week of the 4th Jubilee, and she wed her brother Seth during the 5th week of the 5th Jubilee. In the 4th year of the 6th week, she gave birth to a son, whom she named Enos. Viewed through this lens, the birth of Enos, son of Seth and Azura, marks a pivotal moment in biblical history. According to Genesis 4:26, Enos's time was characterized by a significant resurgence in the worship of God among mankind. This period laid the foundational stones of faith and righteousness in the early chapters of human history. As Enos got older, he got married during a specific time. Surprisingly, his wife was also his sister, Naomi. She was the daughter of Seth and Azura, which made their family setup quite unique. The intriguing legacy of Enos, Noam, and Kenan. Noam is mentioned in the Bible as the wife of Enos and the mother of Kenan. This means she was married to Enos and had a son named Kenan. Enos was the son of Seth, who was Adam and Eve's grandson. He was the first person mentioned in the Bible to pray to God, which was an important part of his character. In the Bible, in the book of Genesis, you'll find some more about Enos. It tells us that Seth had Enos when he was 105 years old. After that, Seth lived for a really long time, 807 years more, and had more kids. In total, Seth lived for 912 years before he passed away. Enos is remembered for his strong habit of talking to God through prayer and for teaching others about God's name. In Genesis 4:26, it says, "At that time people began to call on the name of the Lord." This suggests that Enos played a big role in encouraging people to worship and respect God during his time. His efforts led to a period where people were more interested in exploring spirituality and getting closer to God among Seth's descendants. Enos's commitment to prayer and spreading the word about God's name sparked a newfound interest in spirituality among his community. Kenan, their son, was known as the father of Mahalalel. So, Noam's family line continued through Kenan. Even though not much is said about Noam herself in the Bible, her family connections are significant. They help trace the line of descendants from Adam and Eve, showing how people in the Bible are related to each other. In the Book of Jubilees, Mualaleth is mentioned as Kenan's wife. But what makes her story interesting is that she's also described as Kenan's sister. Back in ancient times, it wasn't uncommon for people to marry their close relatives. Mualaleth being part of Kenan's family tree is like a puzzle piece that helps us see how families were connected way back when. You see, marrying within the family wasn't just about love. It was about keeping the family bonds strong and holding on to their traditions tight. Taking a closer look at Mualaleth's story, it's like peeking into a time capsule of ancient customs. Even though she's not the main character in the big biblical story, knowing about her gives us this little window into what everyday life was like for folks back then. The hidden tale of Dinah, the wife of Mahalalel, is mentioned in the genealogical account in the book of Genesis in the Bible. She is listed as the mother of Jared, who is known for his longevity and for being the father of Enoch. While the Bible doesn't provide extensive details about Dinah herself, she is part of the lineage that leads to significant figures like Noah and ultimately to Abraham, who is considered a patriarch in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. In the Book of Jubilees, there's this fascinating character named Dinah, who spices up the story of Mahalalel. Imagine her as a mysterious puzzle piece in Mahalalel's life. She's not just his wife, she's also his cousin and the mom of Jared. Now, in the Bible, Mahalalel's wife isn't named, but Jubilees steps in to give her a name and unveil their family connections. Dinah's link to Mahalalel through marriage and blood ties shows how tightly knit families were back then. Even though we don't get a full-blown biography of Dinah, her appearance in the story hints at how much family mattered in those ancient days. Knowing Dinah as Mahalalel's wife from the Jubilees gives us a peek into their family world and adds layers to Mahalalel's family tree. It's like discovering a secret chapter in a familiar story. Plus, it teaches us how other texts can fill in the gaps and make biblical characters even more intriguing. In the Bible, Dinah is mentioned as the wife of Mahalalel and the mother of Jared, but their other children are not specified. However, according to the Book of Jubilees, Dinah and Mahalalel had several children, including Jared, the unknown matriarch of ancient Jewish texts. Barakah is indeed mentioned as the wife of Jared in some ancient Jewish texts outside of the canonical Bible, such as the Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilees. These texts expand on the biblical narrative, providing additional details and characters. Barakah is depicted as Jared's wife and the mother of Enoch, who is known for his righteousness and closeness to God. While not part of the canonical biblical text, these sources offer insight into the cultural and religious traditions of ancient Judaism. In many religious tales and stories, Barakah is often linked with Jared as his wife, even though the Bible doesn't directly mention her. According to these tales passed down through generations, Barakah is believed to be Jared's wife and the mother of their children, including the famous Enoch. While we don't have a detailed backstory of Barakah's family tree starting from Adam, it's commonly assumed that she belongs to the same family line that goes back to Adam and Eve. So, in a way, Barakah is like a piece of the puzzle in the long line of ancestors leading up to Jared. Barakah and Jared are like another set of branches on the big family tree that starts with Adam and Eve. Jared's place as the sixth generation from Adam suggests that Barakah would also fit into this ancient family line. However, it's important to understand that the Bible itself doesn't delve into specific details about her or where she comes from. Most of what we know about her is passed down through traditions and interpretations that developed over time. So, while Barakah adds depth and intrigue to the ancestral story, her tale is mostly woven from the threads of ancient lore and faith. In the ancient Jewish texts outside of the canonical Bible, Baraka is mentioned as the wife of Jared and the mother of several children, including the renowned figure Enoch, Edna's shocking lineage in the Book of Jubilees. In the ancient text known as the Book of Jubilees, Edna emerges as a pivotal figure in the lineage of Enoch, offering a deeper dive into her familial background than what's found in the traditional biblical accounts. This narrative unveils her as the wife of Enoch and reveals her father's name as Danel. What makes this revelation particularly intriguing is the detailed genealogy it presents, tracing Edna's roots back through the generations. The text traces Edna's ancestry through her father Danel, who is said to be one of the sons of Mahalalel. Mahalalel, in turn, is listed as the descendant of Kenan, who is the son of Enosh, and Enosh is the offspring of Seth, the third son of Adam and Eve. This intricate genealogy provides a broader context for understanding Edna's place in history. Through this lineage, Edna's connection to Seth's line directly links her to the foundational figures of humanity, Adam and Eve. While her role in biblical narratives might not be as prominent, the mention of Edna in texts like the Book of Jubilees adds depth and complexity to the story of Enoch and his family. Enoch, according to biblical accounts, had several children, but the most well-known among them is Methuselah. Methuselah is mentioned in the Book of Genesis as Enoch's son and the grandfather of Noah. In various Jewish and Christian traditions, Methuselah is often mentioned as having a wife named Edna, but there's very little information available about her in religious texts or historical records. The Bible mentions Methuselah as the son of Enoch and the grandfather of Noah, and it records his extraordinarily long lifespan of 969 years. However, it doesn't provide any details about his wife or her significance. The name Edna is not explicitly mentioned in connection with Methuselah in the Bible, but it has been attributed to his wife in some extra-biblical texts and traditions. Edna, the wife of Methuselah. In some religious texts, particularly the Bible and the Book of Jubilees, Methuselah's lesser-known wife is referred to as Edna. While she may not have had the fame of Methuselah, her role in the family was no less significant. Imagine her as the backbone of their household, nurturing their children and supporting Methuselah through his extraordinary lifespan. In the Book of Jubilees, where Edna steps into the light a bit more, she's identified as the daughter of Azriel, and it's said that Methuselah took her as his wife. This detail adds another layer to her character, giving her a name and lineage, although still leaving much to our imagination. Consider the enormity of Methuselah's lifespan, said to be the longest in the Bible. It's only logical to wonder if Edna shared in this remarkable longevity. Did she witness centuries unfold before her eyes? Did she impart her wisdom to countless generations? These questions linger, adding to the mystique surrounding Edna. Despite the lack of concrete information, Edna's presence in these texts hints at a deeper significance. She represents the unsung heroes of history, whose contributions may be hidden but are undoubtedly profound. So, let's not overlook Edna in the tapestry of biblical tales. Instead, let's appreciate the role she played, however elusive, in shaping the narrative of her time. In the Bible, she remains nameless, but her presence is inferred through her familial connections, especially as the wife of Methuselah and the mother of Lamech, who would go on to play a pivotal role in biblical history as the father of Noah. Just think about the conversations she must have had with Lamech, shaping his worldview and values, perhaps even passing down ancient wisdom from generations past. The intriguing wife of Lamech, Betanos, mentioned as the wife of Lamech, Methuselah and Edna's son, is not just a name in the ancient texts. She's a window into a world of familial connections and rich history that goes beyond what's written in the Bible's book of Genesis. Lamech, smitten with love, chooses Betanos as his partner. But it's not just a random pick. She's no stranger to his family. In fact, Betnos is the daughter of Barachiel, who happens to be Lamech's great-uncle. Talk about keeping it in the family. This cozy connection suggests that their bond runs deeper than just being husband and wife. With Barachiel as Betnos' dad, we get a clearer picture of her roots in the grand family tree detailed in the Book of Jubilees. In the ancient text called the Book of Jubilees, Betnos steps into the spotlight as the wife of Lamech, who himself is the son of Methuselah and Edna. This book, like a hidden treasure chest, spills out extra details about Betnos and her family that you won't find in the regular Old Book of Genesis. In Jubilees 4, ratio 33-34, Lamech walks down the aisle with Betnos, who happens to be the daughter of Barachiel, his grandma's brother. This little tidbit hints at some serious family ties between Lamech and Betnos, going way beyond just being husband and wife. And when they mention Barachiel as Betnos' dad, it's like fitting another puzzle piece into the big family picture presented in Jubilees. Lamech, he's quite the multitasker. He's got not one, but two wives, Ada and Zillah, and then there's Betnos in the mix. Betnos delivers the goods with a son named Tubal-Cain, who's got some serious skills. He's like the ancient version of a blacksmith, crafting tools and weapons out of bronze and iron. In Jubilees 4, ratio 20-22, they paint Tubal-Cain as this master craftsman who's so good, he even teaches others his tricks of the trade, earning himself quite the reputation. By marrying Lamech and popping out Tubal-Cain, she becomes a key player in this epic family saga. Her story weaves into the bigger narrative of Jubilees, adding layers to the family tree and bringing to life the bustling pre-flood era. It's like she's the thread that ties it all together, making the story richer and more colorful. The shocking truth behind Lamech's second union with Zillah. Zillah's story, tucked away in the pages of Genesis 4, might seem brief, but it unveils a fascinating glimpse into ancient times and the way people lived back then. Zillah, being one of Lamech's wives, shines a light on how things worked in the past. Back then, it was pretty normal for men to have more than one wife, especially in places like the ancient Near East. This often showed how men had a lot of power in society, and having multiple wives was a part of that. Zillah, being alongside Ada in Lamech's family, tells us that families back then were pretty complicated. Zillah's appearance in the Bible gives us a rare glimpse into what life was like for women way back when. The Bible usually talks more about men, but having Zillah listed as one of Lamech's wives shows that women were important too, even in a society where men were in charge. It's like saying women had their own roles to play, even if they didn't always get the spotlight. People who study the Bible have different ideas about what Zillah's story means. Some see her mainly as a mom figure, while others think about what her relationship with Lamech says about how society worked back then. Understanding Zillah isn't just about her. It's also about understanding the world she lived in and the rules people followed. Zillah's ancestors include these children of Adam and Eve, making her part of their broader family lineage. While Zillah's specific connection to Adam and Eve isn't detailed in the Bible, she is mentioned as one of the wives of Lamech, a descendant of Cain, who himself was a son of Adam and Eve. This places Zillah within the broader context of the descendants of Adam and Eve, contributing to the ongoing narrative of human history as presented in religious texts. Even though Zillah's part might seem small, it tells us a lot about ancient life. Her story shows us how families were structured, what roles women played, and gives us a peek into the skills and talents people had. It's like a window into a whole different world, where things were both similar and very different from today. In ancient stories handed down through generations, it's said that Cain, the son of Adam and Eve, married his sister Evan. Their children carried on the family line, just as Seth, another of Adam and Eve's sons, married his sister Azura, continuing their lineage. These old stories give us a peek into how families were connected long ago and the traditions they followed. According to old stories, Adam and Eve had lots of sons and daughters, which isn't surprising considering Adam lived for over 800 years. They were known for having many children, and Eve, being the first woman, was especially fertile. It's said they could have had hundreds of children during their lives. Eve, especially, was known for having a lot of kids. Some stories even say she might have had around 69 children. Imagine if someone today had that many. Eve lived a really long time too, reaching 900 years old, according to the stories in the Bible. These stories also say that Adam and Eve had a huge number of children, maybe even as many as 70 or more. Some people think that because they were so strong and healthy, and because it was normal to have lots of kids back then, they might have had hundreds of sons and daughters. In the Bible, it talks about how as Adam's family grew, they had many daughters too. One thing we don't often hear about is that Adam and Eve's children belonged to different groups. This is because people thought Adam and Eve originally came from different places. This idea helps explain why there are so many different types of people in the world today, even though we all come from Adam and Eve. Have you ever thought about how interesting it is that everyone on Earth today came from these people? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos like this one.